Hi everyone! My name is Sheridan Ball, and for my TED Talk, I chose the topic Why Children Stay Silent Following Sexual Abuse by Kristen Jones. I chose this topic because I am a young female and I know many other girls who have been through sexual abuse or are going through it, and it just really caught my eye because I feel like it's a big thing that really needs to get out there because I definitely don't agree with it. And it just really caught my eye when I saw the talk. Main point. Kristen Jones explains in her TED Talk that if you are or have been a victim to sexual violence, the most important thing you can do is speak up. She expresses to parents that if their child is or has been a victim of sexual violence, have them speak up and make sure you're being careful with the words you choose to use because you don't want to say anything that'll offend them or just bring up some really harsh memories or criticize them for anything. You just want to be careful with the words that you choose to use. Also, the main point continued. So, Kristen uses an example of a creepy van in her TED Talk. I'm sure most of you have heard when you were a kid, either from your parents or your grandparents or an older adult, that if you see a creepy white van, make sure you stay away from it, or if a stranger offers you candy, make sure you say no, and always say no. Well, Kristen uses the phrase, she said no for all the years of her abuse, and her no wasn't good enough. So sometimes just saying no doesn't always help. Qualifications. Kristen Jones' main qualification for being able to speak about this topic is her personal experience with this topic. She actually lived being a sexual abuse survivor, so she was qualified to talk about this because she's been through it. Evidence and facts. Kristen Jones was a sexual abuse survivor. She was also a teenager during all these things. During this time, I believe she said she was abused. She didn't give the exact age or anything, but she said she was abused for many years, and it was during her teenage years. And she chose to remain silent and had to deal with the consequences until recently, after being a mother and married. She eventually came out to her mom, who she was super close with, but she just couldn't come to terms with telling her because she was so ashamed of it. But she had to deal with these consequences until she recently came out. And by consequences, I mean like the PTSD from it or the constant reminder of it, those kinds of consequences. Persuasive appeals. Ethos. She has the credibility because she is a survivor of sexual abuse and is now a parent to two teenagers. So she is having to also she also has to make sure that her teenagers aren't going through what she went through. And then pathos. Kristen explains the recollections of her story in great detail by mentioning her thoughts, her feelings, and the words she uses to describe her experience. Logos. Kristen didn't really give me any statistics or factual evidence during her TED Talk. She leaned towards using her personal experience to tell her story. And then the audience. The audience is meant for everyone. Although she's telling it from a girl's perspective, this type of situation is happening to everyone everywhere pretty much. It doesn't matter your age or your race or what your gender is because sexual abuse does not discriminate. It happens to many different people. Who benefits from this talk? This is obviously beneficial to any girl or boy who has been affected by sexual assault. And Kristen also expresses in her talk that parents of these sexual abuse survivors will be educated on talking with their child and what otherwise seemingly harmless words can be interpreted incorrect. So just making sure when the parents are talking to their kids who have been through this situation, like I said earlier, they're using the right word choosing and making sure that they're just talking and making sure that they're comfortable. Other viewpoints. This TED Talk makes you more aware that sexual abuse may be going on in your family, in your household, in your neighborhood, your church, or school district. It can literally be happening anywhere. So that is the end of my TED Talk. Hopefully by the end of this, I was able to spread some light on sexual abuse and made it more aware that it's literally happening anywhere. And just make sure if you are a sexual abuse survivor, just speak up and tell your story, and don't be ashamed of what you have been through or what you're going through, because it'll be all worth it in the end. Thank you.